My name is Julie, and I'm turning 46 this year. My husband Alex is also 46, and our daughter Megan is 16. You'd think a 16-year-old would be past her rebellious phase, enjoying high school, engrossed in romance, clubs, and studies. But Megan was different. For some reason, she kept challenging me. As a mother, I'd often caution her when she wore short skirts or outfits that emphasized her cleavage, especially for a high schooler. You know, dressing like that will only attract the wrong kind of attention. There's nothing good about it. Or, this is the age when you look your best just being yourself. Why make yourself look cheap? You can wear those outfits when you're older. I tell her just common sense advice. Megan is beautiful and had good grades up until middle school. But lately, it seems she's made some questionable friends. However, talking sense into her was challenging. At first, she'd brush me off with a yeah. But gradually, she started to retort, "You're always nagging." Apparently, she believes that by flaunting herself, she's becoming more attracted to boys, and I'm just being a nuisance. They're not attracted to you, they're just seeing you as easy prey. She'd snap back, "Are you jealous? You're just an old lady, worn out from life. All you do is household chores without even bothering to dress up or put on makeup." Well, listen, she wouldn't let me speak. "At least I'm not like those creepy older women trying to compete with their daughters, acting like they're sisters. That's just gross. No, they don't look like sisters." She might have a point, but her tone and choice of words have become harsher. Then she said something unbelievable. "Are you just jealous of how I dress? Can't handle my youth?" Why would I be jealous? I've heard there are mothers out there who are jealous of their own daughter's youth and beauty, but I'm not one of them. I have no reason to compete with my daughter. I just don't want the daughter I've cherished and raised to make a mistake at such a crucial time in her life. At 16, you might think it's not important to be liked by boys right now. If you study hard, get into a good college, and land a job at a reputable company, you'll meet plenty of great men. But life isn't just about attending a top college or working for a top-tier company. I get that. Still, the environment you surround yourself with matters. Places filled with people who worked hard tend to have more genuine individuals. That's why I hope you won't engage in behavior that attracts the wrong crowd right now. But my daughter wouldn't listen to me. In fact, the more I spoke, the more defiant she seemed to become. Back up! One day, she finally snapped at me with those words. The pain of not being understood left me drained. From that day on, she increasingly isolated herself in her room, avoiding me. One day, when I discreetly listened outside her door, it sounded like she was making money using her smartphone. It was something called live streaming on the internet. Just a hint of sensuality could drastically increase her earnings. That might explain her preference for revealing clothes. It's a nightmare. The mere thought of my daughter exposing parts of her body to strangers for money sent shivers down my spine. But my logical arguments fell on deaf ears with her, who found immense joy in this fleeting activity. I didn't want her to lose her way in life, being so engrossed in such transient pleasures. How can I make her understand my feelings? I finally confided everything to Alex. He immediately said,
"I got it. I'll talk some sense into her."
But after spending almost an hour in her room, he came out looking defeated. How did it go?
"Well, after hearing her out, I think you might be the problem."
What?
"Maybe you're being too intrusive? She's not a little kid anymore."
I wonder what kind of conversation the father and daughter had. Do you really think it's okay for Megan to continue like this? She's still underage. What if she gets involved in some online crime?
You're overthinking it.
It seems today's discussion didn't go well. From the next day, I kept a close watch on my daughter's actions. But my intense concerns seemed to suffocate her. Ugh, so annoying, Megan said, leaving the dinner table midway. What about your meal? I don't want it. Can you stop monitoring every single bite I take? Monitoring her eating? I wasn't doing that. I felt wrongly accused. But when she said that, Alex chimed in.
Hey, you need to chill out too.
I'm not doing anything.
Well, it looks like you were to me.
Alex wasn't picking sides. He just wanted to lighten the tense atmosphere at home. He figured it'd be quicker to convince me, his wife, than our teenage daughter.
Times have changed. She's a modern kid. Let her be.
Yes, I understand.
The more you nag her about studying or dressing properly, the more counterproductive it becomes.
Alex finally said,
It's exhausting to come home from work to a tense household. You're the parent and the adult. Pick your battles.
Okay. That night I cried. All the emotions and efforts I put into raising Megan. From the next day, she'd skip breakfast saying, I don't need it, and leave. In the morning, a faint scent of perfume lingered at the front door. Wearing perfume to school? Just a year ago, she was such a regular, diligent girl. It's hard to believe. And then, one night, the police called.
Hello, is this the residence of Megan Smith?
Yes, Megan is our daughter. What's the matter?
Could you please come to the Back Bay Police Station?
I nearly dropped the phone, my voice shaking. What happened? Is my daughter okay?
Please don't worry, she's not involved in any crime. However...
Yes?
We found her heavily intoxicated. Can you please come pick her up?
It turned out Megan was caught by the police while she and a group of friends were graffitiing a convenience store wall. I rushed to the police station. There, Megan sat, glaring in a chair. She had changed into a miniskirt and camisole at some point. Though she came home without resistance, Alex was understandably furious with her that night.
What were you thinking?
Megan retorted, It's because Mom's always nagging. I don't want to come home. She blamed me for her actions, and as if being taken in by the police wasn't enough, she began to act out even more, making it seem to Alex like she was the victim. Mom, did you go through my room again? I would never do that. Liar, my clothes were moved around. Stop it, it's creepy. This was how our breakfast conversation started. For Alex, morning arguments before work were the last thing he needed. Eventually, he slapped me across the face.
Enough! Stop being so controlling with Megan. Don't you see? The more you push her, the more she feels cornered.
He said, making me out to be the villain. Megan seized the moment. Exactly! You're annoying, overbearing, and creepy. I don't need a mom like you. Just leave. Or maybe I should leave? She threatened. Hearing this, Alex tried to call Megan.
Settle down.
Then to me,
You need to leave for a while. Go to your parents' house and cool off.
Fine, I'll leave. At my breaking point, I confessed. There's something I need to tell you, Megan. I'm not your real mother. I had planned to keep this secret until she was older, but I felt the need to reveal everything now. Megan, for a moment, looked defiant, but I continued. You're not my biological child. You were abandoned by your birth mother and were in an orphanage when you were a baby. My husband and I, unable to have children, adopted her as an infant and raised her with all our love. Your biological mother was a troubled high school student who got pregnant young. You were abandoned, I told her. It must have been hard for her to hear this, but I continued. I didn't want you to follow in the footsteps of a mother who would abandon her child. I hoped you'd grow up right, especially knowing you had the blood of a parent who could do such a thing. Megan looked stunned. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with getting pregnant young, but in the end, you were abandoned. I wanted you to have a normal life, a happy marriage. With that, I left the house. Later, Alex told Megan cried her heart out that night. She must have been overwhelmed with emotions. After some time, when I heard Megan had calmed down, I returned home. But she seemed unchanged. Still dressing flashy and hanging out, I decided not to say anything anymore. Let her live her life. Sometimes letting go is also a form of love. Before we knew it, she was in 11th grade. As expected, her grades were poor. Her GPA was so low it seemed irredeemable. Most of her classmates at her academically rigorous school were college-bound. With her grades, she might barely make it into a low-tier private college. Realizing the gravity of her academic situation in 11th grade, she started skipping school, probably too embarrassed to face her peers. Eventually, she ended up working on a production line at a local factory after high school. But the local bad boy she used to hang out with still tempted her into mischief. It was a vicious cycle she couldn't escape. At work, she was known as the girl with the worst grades and behavior from that prestigious school. She struggled to fit in. Then one day, screenshots from a live stream she did as a prank with her then boyfriend surfaced on an online forum. The post read, SMH, live stream from high school grad Megan, LOL. Even using her real name. Worse, it was one of those notorious internet forums where posts can't be removed without legal action and a hefty fee. Even if we paid to remove it, it could just be reposted endlessly. This is the digital tattoo. The shock of finding this, combined with her existing work stress, was the last straw for Megan's fragile mental state. She fell into depression. She couldn't work anymore, got fired, and became socially isolated. Day after day, she'd cry, regretting her actions, saying she didn't want to live anymore. I bit back the urge to say, I told you so. It would be cruel to blame her now, especially when she's finally realizing her mistakes. But I didn't want to abandon her, thinking this was the result of her actions. I wanted to give her another chance. If only you could finally understand now. It's too late for regrets, and she's already behind her peers. But Megan is still young. She can start over. I placed a pile of brochures from various vocational schools and colleges from other states in front of her. Megan, either go back to studying and aim for college or learn a trade, I said, breaking our 2-year silence, guiding her once again. I had left her alone, hoping she'd realize her mistake someday. And finally she did. Megan said, Mom, I'm sorry. I replied, I always believed you'd understand one day, and gently stroked her hair. Her shiny, silky hair seemed to symbolize her still vibrant life and potential. Can I really start over? Of course. Okay. She looked at me with uncertain eyes. So I told her without a doubt, after all, you're my daughter. She burst into tears, saying, Mom, I was so stupid. I can't stand it like this. Yes, so you'll work hard. That night, I convinced Alex to fully support Megan's recovery. He apologized for prioritizing work over our daughter and blaming me for her behavior.
I'm sorry.
He felt helpless and ashamed as a father, seeing her grades plummet. But I said, that's in the past. Let's support Megan in whatever choice she makes from now on. Alex nodded. After some time, Megan decided she wanted to attend nursing school. I'll work really hard, she vowed. We were ready to use our savings for her. She studied hard and got into the vocational school. She'll start in the fall. From now on, she'll pave her own way. And whenever she faces challenges, I'll always be there to say, after all, you're my daughter.